That is, the death toll in Italy has risen by 919 and now stands at 9,134. We can now speak to Sally Lockwood, who is in Rome. And Sally, another big rise in Italian numbers.
Yes, Mark, I can't quite believe we're seeing these numbers. 919 people have lost their lives in the last 24 hours in Italy. That is by far the biggest loss of life in a 24-hour period, not just in Italy, but globally. If I'm not mistaken, the biggest loss of life in a single day in Italy so far before this figure was 765. I'll need to check that to be sure, but it was around that. So 919 is a huge leap. And to think that it was just the 21st of February, exactly 5 weeks ago today, that Italy lost its first citizen to COVID-19, and the number now stands at 9,134 lives lost in just 5 weeks. It's impossible to imagine what that feels like for the people working on the front line, the doctors and nurses. We know now that 14% of the positive cases are frontline healthcare workers. And of course, the number of cases in Italy has risen as well today significantly to 86,498, up from 80,500 around that point yesterday. That's eclipsed China's number of reported figures, which was around 81,000. We did expect that to exceed China's figures today, but I don't think anyone expected the death toll to be quite that size, Mark. 919 lives lost in a 24-hour period, Italy's biggest loss of life so far. And I can also tell you that in Lombardy today, Mark, 541 people are said to have lost their lives in the last 24 hours, bringing the number of lives lost just in the Lombardy region alone to 5,402, a very, very sharp rise compared to yesterday. And if I'm not mistaken, the second highest loss of life in Lombardy in a single day so far. So very disappointing news for Italy today, Mark, as they are well into their third week in lockdown with no end date in sight.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Sally. And that is an increase in 24 hours of 919 in Italy, bigger than the total number of deaths here in the UK.